Hello and welcome to Fragments of Remains, session 23. So, since having the previous week off, go around the table and see how everyone's couple weeks were. Lincia, how are your couple weeks? You can finally get out of doing family time?
Oh, yeah.
That's good. You sounded miserable last time we brought it up. You're just like, yeah.
Well, now I'm miserable for a different reason.
Aw.
Because Mundo didn't gank when he needed to.
Hopefully he's using the business Mundo.
He was, actually.
Good. Modar, how was your couple weeks?
For the most part, it's been good. A little crazy. It's been super busy at work, so that's good. More money, and excited to get back into playing.
Yeah, our session last night for Monday ended up getting canceled. Fairly close to the last minute. A couple of people they live in the same house and they didn't have any power, so no internet. But without playing last night, I was just like, I need to DM a game. This feels weird. So I'm definitely glad we're playing.
So I've been playing in a encounter league that this guy's been running. Nomad. It's fun, but it's like a bunch of one shots. But with the same character, you level up. It's in beta testing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I wish he did more stuff when I was available, but I
Well,
kind
he
of booked
wants
my
to.
own schedule. So
Yeah, well, he really wants to, but he needs more DMs. Like he's right now, he's the only DM, and so he's running it when he has time. But he wants to get more DMs in that have a more variety. But yeah, he definitely needs to talk with them because it's a bunch of special things going on with some of the bosses and things like that. But it's a lot of fun. If you get a chance to check out the streams, I'd suggest it.
I do. I chat with him every once in a while. He's a good guy. Togo, how's your couple weeks?
It's been busy. One of my coworkers is out of the lab here the last 2 weeks because he just had his kids. He's been on paternity leave because got a newborn at home and lots of things going on at work with my supervisor and it's been crazy. Safe to say.
Well, crazy's not always a bad thing, right?
Yeah, hoping things calm down here though.
True. And Zanashi.
That's a pretty boring week, man. No, I'm just kidding. Quick rundown: Disney storage unit cleanup, shelving, playing softball, and getting hurt. That's how my weekend and a half's been. So there you go.
Nice. Well, definitely a little jealous about going to Disney. I feel like it's been over 5 years since I've been there.
Oh, it's definitely been that long for me. My daughter's 12 and she'd never been, and my other daughter is 16 and she was like 2 when we went. So I guess it's been 14 years for me until I went this time.
All right. Well, I feel like I'm a little bit repeating myself from when we played our last session, session 22. But with having the previous week off, I'll let you guys add in whatever you can, of course, for a recap. But if there's any assistance needed, whatnot, I'll start to take the lead on that whenever you guys feel like you've remembered all you can. So, the floor is yours for now until you hand it back over, I guess.
Well, we arrived at the Goblin camp after being led there by our two new friends. Once there, we were introduced to their leader, Gabo, who had a human bard or bard-esque type of individual there.
They weren't a bard, but they said they were, and so they were.
Oh yeah. Okay,
keeping
that's
him.
what. Yeah, he lied about being a bard. That was it. Yeah. Yeah, they had him basically forcing him into singing, threatening to kill and
He was on
him.
a pyre surrounded by little campfires, right? And they had like wood that they were throwing every time they got mad at him or something to see if they would catch and burn him alive.
I think they were throwing sticks, but I don't think anything was on fire yet. I think they were getting ready to burn him if they didn't like what he sang, because they were trying to compete with a. We find out that they're trying to compete with a rival
Orc tribe.
Right? Yes. Modar did start to mess with a couple of their heads, sending messages to him, making him try to think that they could hear his thoughts.
Gobbo especially.
Yes, Gabo especially. And then Togo managed to impress them with his singing abilities.
And then asked where the red tree was, and I was promptly launched into a tree that direction, of which I fell and was knocked unconscious.
Yes, and then we had some more dealings with Gabo and his big troll friend, who was the launcher of Togo. Managed to get some information from them about the local areas, trying to convince them to get as many goblins together as possible to recruit them for the war effort in Mido, so they can go there and join the fight. Convince them that they would get paid if they did that. So he's going to try and gather as many people as he can. We also had, I convinced, is it Vince Durgal? Was that the name of the
Pretty close,
gentleman? Durgal? Okay. That's my terrible spelling. Managed to convince him to lead the goblins to Mido, to try and do his best to make sure that they don't attack others or get attacked if possible, trying to convince people that they're going to defend individuals or defend people. And then once I was satisfied that would happen, we were going off to the lizard people to either convince them to join the fight or take care of that problem.
I must say that was pretty damn good, especially for having last week off. Anybody else have a couple things in particular that you want to add?
Well, at some point, Alencia and Zanashi shared a tent, and then when that happened, Alencia felt super uncomfortable when Zanashi got too close, and just tried her best not to think about it as she went to sleep, and then woke up again and pretend like it didn't happen.
It happened, and I'm going to remind you every day.
Please don't.
Just
Gumbo
teasing
has
you,
a
man.
magic rock. He showed us a magic rock that he has. When he hits it, it does damage, and it also healed.
That was pretty good. Well, I think it's fair enough to say then, with that said, we'll jump into tonight's session with this. As each of you continued west from the goblin camp, leaving the tribe behind in hopes that they would return to Raisk in order to beef in their numbers with more goblins within the city, as Gabo had indicated. to you, Modar. But making your way west, each of you had made it to the tree lines on the early morning hours of April 29th. The sun at each of your backs, you are all cast into shadows created by the canopies from the trees. Even though each of you are concealed in the shadows, the warmth feels almost heavy. Each breath being a bit difficult to inhale completely. You just feel like that slight burning sensation in your chest. Since we're all from Florida, well, except for you, Kevo, we have the idea of like a high humidity day. Each of you find this extremely difficult, all except for you, Zanashi. Zanashi, you're feeling a bit more on the refreshed side and more at home than when each of you were in the north near Vala back in the cold. Modar, from never leaving Vala, this is definitely an odd element that you find yourself in with this heat and just this dry weather. But as each of you hear the wind begin to rustle the leaves from the tree canopy above, you feel the breeze blowing from the east to the west. As each of you lay your eyes from the tree lines, seeing a grassland that lies ahead and a large hole in the ground, roughly 600 feet in distance away, you'll hear, we not get any closer, right? As each of you look over, seeing Furt and Dirt, who had guided you to this location, both trembling, holding each other in their arms.
This is far enough, thank you.
What seems to be the problem?
They'll eat us.
You don't think you can hold your own?
Against maybe like one or two, but that's where they live.
All right, fair enough. Thank you for leading us this far.
You want us stay here, or you know way back?
Modar's gonna look over towards Zanashi. Zanashi, you think you can find your way back?
Of course, I can find my way back.
We should be fine. With Zanashi guiding us, how could we get lost?
Okay, do you want us keep horse? Head back again.
I will look at them and say, if you do, it's going to be alive when we get back. Or I will feed you to the lizards.
Mm-hmm. Last one not like meat. Maybe yours do.
No, grass only. Don't feed it meat.
Oh?
Horses eat grass and acorns and plants.
As they both give you like a fearful look, a little bit of a nod of understanding, as each of them are still a bit shaking and trembling in fear. Togo, you're with the party at the moment. I actually kind of forgot you had to dip out early last session. You had rejoined the party and went back with them. Your face just a bit swollen and a bandage wrapped underneath like the bottom of your chin, tied like a bow on the top of your head.
That was the best I can do.
Is it a pretty
I hope
bow?
you're okay with it.
It's a pretty bow.
And does anybody need anything off the horse, or is it going to be fine to send it back with them?
I mean, I don't need anything off the horse right now, but
Well, after we're done here, are we going back to the Goblin Tribe? Is that what we're doing?
We'll go back there and then we'll head south.
Okay, well, just in case we need it, I'll just grab a couple days worth of food.
And once
Granted,
all
last time we were around the Blizzard folk, it was not great having horses. That's a fair point. Maybe we should send them back.
and as they do leave, I'm going to send message in their mind that says, I will cook you for dinner if anything happens to that horse.
Dirt takes off and just lets out a bit of a yell as he makes his way just like trudging through the forest, and then you see the other just like look behind and say, how you do that?
How did I do what?
Let me hear your thoughts.
You can hear my thoughts? That I didn't think you were a magic caster. Only a magic caster could do something like that.
It just stares at Mona.
He'll like look at you and then like look at his hands and then start stretching out his arms towards you, like twitching his fingers just a bit, and then you'll hear him begin to just go.
I point.
I don't feel anything.
I cast message at him and say in his head, "You have no power here."
Y'all are terrible.
This is when he just turns and follows, running in fear as well.
And as they start running away, don't forget about the horse.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're terrible, Clue.
You know
It's
what?
educational for him.
You're a lot more threatening than I thought you were.
What's that? We spent good money on those horses, and we've already lost, what, three so far. We don't need to lose any more.
It's just another side of you I didn't expect.
Well, down here we need to make sure we cover ourselves. They don't like magic casters, so give them something to make sure that they are loyal to us.
Right. So, in regards to that, are we attacking on sight?
Truthfully, if we can convince them to give us this red tree back and convince them to join the fight, then it'll be a win-win. Get them out of here. The druids will be happy. Mito will be happy. And they may, if they like bloodshed as much as they seem to, hopefully they'll be happy.
That sounds like a very idealistic scenario.
Listen, we're going in with goals. We're not expecting all of them to be met, but if we can get a couple of them, like, that, not a bad thing.
They don't seem to be good for this area, and if we can move them someplace and make their hostility useful, I don't see why not. Same thing with the goblins. If they're causing issues in the area and attacking and kidnapping people walking up and down the roads, let's put their violent nature to good use.
We didn't let anyone survive when they attacked us last time, right?
Did the leader get away?
I don't believe
No.
the druids came in and stopped them. There was one that was getting away, but the druids killed him.
All right. Well,
And if this is the same clan that before Valencia, if they've taken a contract out for you, then it may not be an option either way. We may need to attack, but I say we be ready for the worst and hope for the best.
the worst has not been kind to me lately.
That's why we're planning for it and hoping that everything's better.
That's why if there's a bigger chance that we're not going to settle things peacefully, then we should at least do something that will increase our survivability at least.
Oh,
Such
I
as
intend to.
scouting the area and attacking from the shadows.
I think that is a wonderful idea.
Then let's go.
How much farther ahead is the their like camp, cave, home?
The hole is roughly 600 foot away from the tree line.
Why don't you guys let me go up ahead and I will take a look around and see what I see, and then I can make my way back here and we can make a plan off that. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Be safe.
Do. I'm gonna make my way closer to the hole. If there's any like brush or any kind of cover I can use as I approach, I'm gonna try and make my way that way. And what I'll do is I'll go up like 100 or so feet and then stop and wait for a minute or two, see if I see anything, any movement, and then make my way a little bit further, and would be how I'd approach it.
Okay, so pretty much just making your way up 100 foot at a time. You mentioned like looking around, for places to kind of be a little bit stealthily about it, at least remain a tad bit hidden. With your passive perception, as you look around, you don't see much after like making your way out of the tree line. You just notice in some areas there being a bit of tall grass that is roughly your height.
Definitely make my way through the tall grass. I realize it is dangerous and that wild Pokemon can appear, but it's worth the risk.
I'll follow him.
How closely are you following me?
Probably about 10 foot behind you.
Alright, I don't have a problem with Zanashi following me. I ain't gonna try and tell her no. But I do turn back and say, now, I understand that these things individually are not gonna be a threat to us. But before we go charging all in there, I'd rather have Modar and Alencia just as backup.
Are you saying I'm not enough?
What I'm saying is that I am quite confident in us that we can take 5, 10, but if there's 30, 40, this is where they live. There could be a lot in there. Listen, a stick's not going to hurt you, but 1,000 sticks hitting you over and over again would eventually make you pass out.
Yeah, you got a point.
With you guys making your way up like the first 100 feet, Alencia and Modar, you both are staying back in the tree line, correct?
Correct, yes.
Alright, so Togo and Zanashi. Can both of you give me a perception check, please?
And I am going to cast Mage Armor.
Nice. Good call. And just, I mean, never hurts. It's 8 hours, right? And both great rolls on perception. As you both have made your way up that 100-foot Togo and Zanashi, looking a bit, peeking through the grass, looking towards the hole, you will notice 3 heads of what you all know now as lizard folk appear out of the hole.
How many?
3. You're roughly 500 foot away at this point.
How big is the hole?
From the comparison of like the head and then like kind of like what you had seen, it's fairly large, at least 25 to 35 foot across.
Okay, so I'm not going to go like put something over the top of it.
What are they doing? Are they just popping their head out, looking around, almost like sentries, or?
Yeah, like almost kind of what are they called? A meerkat or a meerkat?
Yeah, meerkats.
How they kind of just like poke their head up. You see them just where you would know them to kind of like stand on their hind legs, looking around, surveying the area before going back down and out of sight, what you would assume to just be crawling.
I will take note and creep forward a little bit, and then keep watching to see if they come back up, and I'll try and note the time between when they check.
Roughly a minute to a minute and a half goes by before you know 4 heads pop up from that area.
I'll wait another minute and a half and see if they do it again. Unless Zanashi obviously does something else.
Zanashi?
I'm just kind of following his lead.
Understood. Well, as the next minute to minute and a half go by, nothing else is seen from that area.
Looking around, do I see any other ways that we could approach this hole, or is it kind of like a clearing with some tall grass around it?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just some, I mean, kind of like plains-like area, little bits of grass and then just tall grass breaking here and there. I guess more like a meadows.
I'll make my way up another 60 feet, see if I notice anything else, and sit there for 5 minutes. If I don't, then I'll head back to Modar and Alencia.
Nothing else is noticed within that time frame.
Then I will make my way back.
You usually do so, undisturbed. From them kind of looking around, you gather that they feel that there's no threat. It didn't seem that they were like charging towards you or anything of that manner. So, and
It was okay.
plus being over 400 foot away, still, it's a good distance.
I'm assuming we make our way back fine, and we're
Yeah,
back
essentially
with.
so.
So it looks like they have 4 guards that are checking every. It was every minute or so, but I didn't see them for 5 minutes. But there's 4 guards that look like they're at the entrance. There's no easy way to approach without being seen once you get to the last stretch of land. So there's not much to do to help approach-wise or positioning-wise. It's mostly just an open meadow. I don't know if there's any more down in that hole. We didn't get that close, but
That kind of what would it be called? Sentry behavior. Sounds like once they see something suspicious, they immediately make a call for everyone to come out of the hole and attack whatever they see, no matter what.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Hello?
Oh, I hear you now.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
Discord, I guess. Did you hear what I said?
you cut out. That's
Yeah,
what I
you cut
kept
out
trying
like
to
right in
say,
the
and
middle.
nobody was saying anything, and I was like, "What the heck, man? Can
Like
anybody
I
hear
still
me?"
had
was
full
talking.
voice connectivity, but I was going like hello for like a minute or at least a couple times. But I think Discord just shot out there completely.
I think you're
Okay,
right.
the last thing I heard was Togo coming back and saying what happened, and that's when I started talking. And I said, their kind of sentry behavior sort of indicates to me that they are intending to attack whatever is approaching on site, regardless of how welcoming they seem. They might make a call for everyone to come out of the hole and start attacking just out of sheer caution. They
I
don't
don't.
seem that welcoming based on what you described.
I mean, it could just be it's their home where their women and children are, and they want to keep it low profile. I don't think
Right.
the druids would have sent us here if they would immediately attack.
Maybe, maybe not. I would say that we approach with the intent to negotiate, but ready to fight.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, how much do I actually know about lizard folk?
From I believe it was like you had a previous check on it from the previous encounter, um, and you didn't recall much information on them, if I'm not
All right.
mistaken.
Okay.
Basically, we're given the information that they're called lizard folk, or at least that's what they're referenced as from the druids.
Well, if they are an actual society, I couldn't imagine that they would want to endanger their young. I understand defending it. If we need to defend ourselves, I say we do it. Take them down as quickly as possible. After we take a few down, I should be able to speak with them in their native language, or at least I could with the last group that we came across. If this is the case, we try to talk our way through this, and once a few of them go down, we give them the option to surrender and move on.
If, depending on how many they are, maybe the best option would be to, if they start something, hit hard, hit fast, get out, and then try and pick them off over a couple days and whittle their numbers down in small groups instead of taking them all at once. I don't know about the rest of you, but I am actually all right at doing, shall we say, surprise encounters with other individuals who are not expecting me.
I do understand how important diplomacy is and how much good it can offer. But if these are the same lizard folk that set a trap for innocent adventurers in hopes to kill 3 of them and capture me, don't think they'll share the same sympathy from us just walking in the front door.
While I think you make a great point there, Alencia, I would like to point out it can't be the same ones because the ones that did that are all dead. So
I'm not saying they recognize us, but
true,
I don't
true.
know why we are different than anyone else they may attack, any innocent people they may attack on the road.
They were after you, remember? They had a contract for you, and these here may have a contract for you as well. And if that's the case, we will
If that's
take
the
care
case,
of
I
it.
think we take
Perhaps,
them out over a series of days, and
Did they know
perhaps
I was
we.
coming?
They were after you. They grabbed you and they were taking you. I'm pretty sure your drow friends had hired them to take you back.
I have a better plan. We use Alencia to lure them out, and when they chase Alencia, we go in and take some of their young, not to kill, because I am fully against killing children, but with the threat, they will lay down their arms.
so don't go after the lizard men, but hit them where it hurts with the lizard women and lizard children.
Exactly.
What about the ones that are already chasing me?
Well, you better run fast.
I feel like that's one of those things that we do after diplomacy fails.
And then you've shown your cards. I mean, I don't mind being uh, bait a little bit, I suppose, but
I feel
I
like we can go and
figure Alencia is probably a quicker runner than I am. And when I get angry, I don't much like to run from conflict.
I don't
maybe
like the thought of any of us being bait. I do think we're better fighting together.
Absolutely.
also, if we want to use bait, I feel like the person who's bait should have the horse waiting so they can hop on and circle back around.
Ooh, Togo.
That's too late. The horse is gone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can, if we go and things go
Well,
poorly, we can come back with the horse and do
Togo.
some
Yes.
shenanigans.
You
Absolutely.
could make me invisible and I could sneak in.
Well, let's. I say we approach, see how they react, and then if we get in over our heads, we need to be ready to run. So we try. I say we try to finish this here and now. Prolonged over several days. I know for myself I will not be at my strongest tomorrow.
I know that I am not dead or captured. So assuming that bounty is still up, I don't think diplomacy is an option.
If you just want to go in guns a-blazing, then I say we do it. But
I
you
say we
think-
do it right.
You know what? Modar, you can actually speak to them, right?
I speak their language.
How about I'll walk over to Zanashi, put my hand on her, and I cast invisibility at a 3rd level. And both of us go invisible.
Oh, I love you, Togo.
So just as Togo says, "How about," and then places his hand on Zanashi, both of them vanish from sight. You can both still see like a little indentation in the ground where they were standing.
This way we have an advantage, and they can still hear us, mind you, Zanashi, so I wouldn't be... We should be quiet with it, but if it goes poorly, they expect that there's 2 people and not 4, and Zanashi can dome them over the head.
I don't mean to insult your strategy, but assuming that I'm a target and Modar's the one negotiating and you two are invisible, what am I meant to do?
Stand behind Modar and seem threatening. We can't
I
have
think-
Modar all by himself because then he will be. They'll think that, oh, we can just grab this guy and go.
So I'm sorry.
I feel like
I also want someone who can heal Modar if something happens and I'm farther away, or Modar moves away and I can't stand next to him.
if there's a bounty for Lencia, Lencia needs to be somewhat unseen to
That's-
prevent total provocation of the lizard people.
If there's
That's
a
what I was
bounty on
gonna say.
Alencia, though, I don't want them to be like, oh wait, we can do this and collect the bounty. I want that out in the open at first.
Yes, well, how they react to her will determine whether there's a bounty. If there's a bounty, we go all in and take them out. We can't be looking over our shoulders the entire time we're down here. We need to send a message, make sure everyone realizes it's not worth it. Whatever bounty they're offering isn't worth it.
How long do we have, Togo?
We have an hour. We're fine.
All right.
All right. I mean,
So I will walk up to them. If you like, Alencia, stay to the back, stay behind me, and we'll see if we can negotiate out of this. If not, you two be ready to attack.
do you want me to be in plain view?
May as well at this point. You hiding? Was there anything for her to hide behind as we go up?
Not really. It's
Well,
mostly just grass.
maybe if they see you and myself, we're relatively unharmed. Maybe that in itself, knowing that we took down their entire hunting party, will put enough fear in them.
I
Alright.
sure hope you know what you're doing.
Oh I do as well. I do as well. Let's move.
Let's go.
All right, so Togo and Zanashi, since both of you are invisible, can you both roll me stealth checks at advantage? And Modar, exactly how close are you aiming to get? Or, with the rough estimate of 600 foot away, I mean, Togo got, about 440, 450-ish, if I remember correctly.
I am slowly approaching in as much of a least hostile, as friendly as I possibly can. But I'm not hiding. I'm not trying to act suspicious in any way. I'm walking up to have a conversation.
I'm walking up politely and just as her usual servant walks that she's practiced, hoping to look as least slithering as possible.
Once I can see them, I am going to from a distance. I'll wait until I'm not going to say anything unless I look and they seem to notice me. Then I will kind of put my hand up and wave and continue to walk. If they start to charge or they get hostile, I'm going to freeze and take a defensive stance.
All right.
If they see you, try to speak in their language first.
I will, yeah, if I see them, if I notice them noticing me, I'm going to say hello in Draconic.
Notice them noticing you.
So, let's take it step by step and see how it plays out.
Like I said, I'm just trying to, I'm not
you're not look suspicious or threatening by any manner for first off.
Exactly.
So as you're making your way forward, Alencia and Modar, both of you see when you're making your way into the taller grass locations, some of the grass part here and there as Zanashi and Togo have made their way forward. Eventually, in a rough estimate, about half the distance has been closed, Modar, you and Alencia have begun to just lose track amongst the amount of high grass in this area. Roughly going through 100 foot, before it clears, where you see the hole roughly 200 foot away, and then see 7 of the lizard folk off in the distance.
What are they doing?
So if you all can add your tokens, add the tokens about right there.
Where at?
On the east side of the map.
What is it again? You go to drag off characters or
Your name, your character name itself,
Yeah,
not
there we
the
go.
actual picture. Oh, if he's that far up, I'm definitely up further.
Oh no. I was just dragging onto the map.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
in.
And Modar and I'm sorry, not Modar, but Togo and Zanashi both still invisible, of course.
We're coming from the west. We're coming from the east, moving west, correct?
Mhm.
I'm relatively 15 feet behind Modar.
So Modar, as you make your way out, you see each of their eyes kind of turn towards you. The one in the back, resembling the long-tailed one that each of you had presumed to be the leader of the hunting squad, as you all called it, perks up in the back, perching up on its hind legs, and you understand it as it calls out. Halt! No farther!
I'll freeze where I'm at.
What is it? You bring gift?
No. Actually, I have come to speak with you and your leader, if that's possible.
Just met with silence.
I'm saying this in Draconic.
Yes,
What
just
gift?
met with silence.
What gift do you think I bring? And I'll point back. My friend here.
The drow.
And what would you want with a drow?
Just more silence without a question.
I'm just gonna be moving my token every so often, 20 to 30 foot, just so you know.
I assume that someone has offered you gold for this individual here.
The matron mother wants her back. You give.
And who is the matron mother to you?
Silence.
Do you answer to the matron mother? I thought your species answered only to yourselves, to your own kind.
We have reasons. But first, the girl.
I'm afraid I'm in no position to do that.
I want to look down the hole. What do I see?
You just see this tunnel that winds and curves back down. It seems to be from the sunlight, like kind of making its way in a bit, just a bit of a curved, little bit of rocky terrain. Nothing that you can't go down.
Anyways, the last hunting party of yours that we came across was larger than this, and here we stand and they don't. Are you sure you want to continue down this road?
Does this guy look like he's the leader? The one in the back?
It resembles the one that you all had deemed as like the leader of that squad. But with your question, Modar, your answer will be, there's only two. We have enough. Take her. As these lizard folk begin to move forward.
I would stop there if I were
What are they
you.
saying?
Get ready. I
Ripping
would
the
stop
stuff.
there if I were you. Your last party was this size, and my party was more than enough to take them down.
I'm going to bonus action go into a rage, and I'm coming up behind this one here, and I'm going to swing heavy.
All right. So just as you begin to like make your way forward and foam at the mouth, being encased in the rage, you come close within striking distance. You see a couple of the lizard folk begin to take aim with javelins as they are fully attentioned and focused on Modar and Alencia. All right, go ahead and begin to roll me initiative. Zanashi, you can go ahead and get your attack off.
Striking from invisibility, I should have advantage, correct?
That is correct.
Does a 15 hit?
It does.
I was worried. All right, and I'm going to make my second swing.
You just get one. But you are at the top of the turn order, so I guess you get 3. But let me go ahead and switch over the music and mark off the HP.
That would have been a surprise round that you get your full attack action, which is 2 attacks.
Oh god, PTSD.
I'm about to crit this fucking dude and chop his fucking head off and hold it up for the rest of them that see as I drink his fucking blood.
All right, go ahead and make your attacks, Clue. Or Zanashi. I believe a 14 is a hit. Yes, it is. Oof.
Does he have anything left?
So appearing out of nowhere in a flanking maneuver behind them as they all begin to approach Modar and Alencia, Zanashi cuts this one down in 2 swings as a couple look back, seeing this one fallen. The others seem to just still be focused on the 2 of you.
Okay, I'm going to use my movement and move here. And I am going to use my second attack.
$23 hits.
And hit that one. And after I swing and hit that one, I'm just going to look at the rest of them. and this one too with my elf mutilator in hand and just flex. Roar.
You just see a few of them flick their tongues at you, and you see their mouths move, but cannot understand their words.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to do a circle for that's the right size here. Is there a way to do like a measured circle?
I got an easier way to do it. You just let me know what size you need, and then I'll throw it down for you.
Gotcha.
Anything else, ma'am? Tanashi?
No, that's all that
All right.
I can do.
Moving us to Modar. Relatively safe distance away, Tanashi already slashing through one and making her way to the next, and making this one in a fell swoop. Pretty rough condition.
Alright, I'm looking to drop a fireball. I need a 20-foot radius circle. Can I move that?
Now you can. And that should be 20 foot. You just click the ring in the center.
Yep. Yeah, looking to hit as many of these 4. If I can only get 3 of them, that's fine. If I can get all 4, I will. It's gonna be close. The
I mean,
3 in
that's
the-
pretty close.
The 3 in the front, it's the back one that I'm not quite sure is gonna necessarily.
If you hold, I believe it's Alt, you can take it off the grid, and then I think you can adjust it correctly. Like, when you're clicking and dragging it. Yeah. Perfect.
I sure hope you ain't used your last fireball slot, because hell, we don't know if 100 of them's coming out of that hole.
True.
But yes, with it not snapping to the grid, you can easily get all 4 of them.
Yep. I want to make as big of an impression as quick as possible on them, so it's not my last one now.
All right, so that's 4 dexterity saving throws. So we'll go from like from the left to the right, since they're all in different columns. And let's see how they do. First one's a 4. Second one is a 16. So I think that's a fail and a pass. 18
Yeah, I believe I got...
and a 15. I think the 15 might be a pass as well. I think
My-
that meets it.
My spell save DC is 16.
16? Okay, so then that's a fail, pass, pass, fail. Go ahead and mark down the spell and roll me that damage. Ooh, I see a bunch of... lowest one's a 3. That's a good one.
Yikes.
Yeah, nice damage, man.
That is nasty.
Overall, taking out 2 of them.
And this is the first time any of you have actually seen me put this type of magic out. You see me just look over, and this giant fireball just flies from the sky and just explodes over these 4 guys.
And feeling a bit more of the heaviness of the heat as this fire is created, You see a couple just become almost completely incinerated, dropping down instantly as the flames encase all 4 of them. 2 still standing, but barely, as each of their green scaled-like skins are quite charred and burnt. You see the wood on the shield beginning to just fall and break away, their armor beginning to snap and crack as it falls apart.
If there's any chance of you negotiating at all, now's the time. And that will be my turn.
You killed them. You die. If not by me, then the others. As this one to your southwest begins to move forward towards you. As it does, it will finish its drawback on the javelin and will throw it. And since the javelin is burning, I'm going to go ahead and give this a disadvantage. Ooh, well, 17 on the dice. So towards you, Modar, I believe that'll beat your AC with the modifiers, even with mage armor.
What's the total?
21.
21, yeah, and I don't think yet. And shield won't fix that one. Yep, no, I'm good. Yep.
All right, you will take a total of 4 damage, right? Yeah, 4 damage. I wanted to make sure I was adding the right modifier. As the javelin pierces into your skin, but with the flames that are burning the wooden hilt attached to it, it just falls away quickly and only remains the tip of the spear into your leg.
I'll just smile. I mean, you think I'm the most dangerous thing on this battlefield. Pointing back at Zanashi.
Which will turn and seeing the... Well, still call him the leader, as it's more of a distinguished token in comparison to the others, is fallen, and Zanashi raging forward, blood dripping from the elf mutilator. You'll hear... actually, go ahead and give me a perception check, Modar, as this one just to your northeast, Zanashi, begins to attack you. First attempting to hit you with the shield, and then swinging forward with a heavy club.
Okay.
First one is a 19 to hit, and then the next one is a 15.
Both for hits.
You take 13 total damage, halved, it will go down to 6. Modar, as this one is striking into Zanashi, piercing her skin with the spike shield and a heavy club, you will hear the one that you drew its attention over towards there shout out to the one in the north, "Go! Warn the others!"
To which one?
To the one in the north.
He thinks he can outrun me. He got nothing coming.
And will start to make his way off the grass and onto the dirt just before the hole. Togo, it is your turn. While still invisible, the flames have begun and, well, have completely burnt away the grasslands that lied beneath these lizard folk, and the 2 that were closest to you just incinerated.
Okay. I'm going to move up 25 feet. Where's that there? And then, let's see. Oh, 1 sec. I'm gonna cast Sleep on that gentleman right there, or the area around the one near the hole,
Got it.
at at 2nd level.
Okay. Roll the dice. So I believe that's 78.
Yes. So 25.
As this one steps on to the dirt, you'll see the spell, or you'll feel the spell go off as like this little bit of what appears to almost look like a bit of rain and fog fall just slowly and gently over the creature. Takes 1 step, begins to wobble, takes another, wobbling a bit more, and then on the 3rd step just falls flat, belly down, sliding just a few inches before stopping, and he is fast asleep.
That'll be my turn. That was close.
Which brings us to Elincia.
So much happened before she had time to react. She was instinctively going to go right in front of Modar to catch any projectiles. But seeing as how most of them are already dead, she step of the wind to move up to this one and finish them off. I have more movement. Yeah, there. Just 30. Okay, I have 20 movement left. I will boop bop, beady bop, boop bop.
So as this one brings up the shield in order to deflect your attack, you'll see the flames just burn a bit more, and as a chunk falls, your quarterstaff goes right through the opening and square into the face of this lizard folk. And 8 damage is exactly what you needed, and as you connect, you'll see it go like right into the eye. It kind of caves in a bit. You hear a little bit of a as you imagine the eye socket just breaking a tad bit, and then he falls.
And then I'll use an extra attack to throw a dart at this one.
Okay.
Nope.
After the first one, putting that one down, turning, taking a few steps, throwing the dart pretty much from the hip as you take it off your belt, and it just goes wide. Almost hits the one off to its northwest.
Okay, I'll just use the rest of my movement to go right there. That is it.
Okay. This one will close the gap, seeing after you just attempting to hit it with a dart, and hearing the command from the now fallen lizard folk, will hold its ground and try to attack you, Elincia. So with this one is a natural 1 as it swings towards you with the shield, but with it being encased in the flames, it burns away fairly quickly. And you feel the connection, but it's just the forearm as the shield has fallen. The spikes from it lie just at the feet. It looks at you a bit confused and then attempts to swing at you with the heavy club. And this one, not for much better with a natural 2 on the dice, and just steps on one of the spikes. You hear it just let out a loud hiss as the club falls to the ground. Which will bring us to Zanashi.
I'm going to. I'm just going to swing at this one time. Pretty sure I'm going to kill it as long as I can land a hit. After I swing at it, I am going to turn and run to the one that's asleep. And I am going to swing at it.
Wait, how do you know the one that you just swing at it's actually dead? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Because he's looking pretty freaking rough.
Yeah, this one I believe it gives you advantage.
As I see
Isn't it
Zanashi
an auto
going
crit?
that way, I'm gonna holler at her. Don't kill that one.
I don't listen.
I figured
It is
not.
an auto crit, I believe, as long as it hits.
Yeah, it hit. So 17 plus 2, 19. Wait. Well, 17's how much the first die is slashing. So 17, I don't know how much it is, man. My math is broke after I get off work.
I got you.
I thought math was important in your house.
It is, man, but I use it all day at work. When I come home, I'm mathed out.
Yeah, I get you.
And as you sink into that one, the attention is drawn just a bit, missing the vital spot from severing its neck, and you cut down deeply into the shoulder. And as you do, with the pretty much like this devastating blow, presuming it to be dead, but as you begin to pull out the elf mutilator, it begins to like squirm just a bit. There's life left yet.
Okay. There's nothing else that I can do, so that's the. Actually, he's on the ground, so I will move, even if it provokes opportunity attack while he's on the ground. I'm moving right by the tunnel, and I'm going to end my turn right there.
He is not going to so much attack you as attempting to almost like grapple and trip you up. So give me an athletics check at advantage as he tries to just put out the shield and like clip your ankle. Oh yeah, you're good. Like you feel it, but it doesn't even hinder you at all. I rolled a 5, so you are more than enough. Is that it for your turn? Is that gonna be all?
That's it.
All right, which brings us to Modar, as only one still standing forth is attacking. The other you see laying, but pretty wounded after Zanashi's attack.
Alright, so I am going to move up to there. How do I... Oh, right there. And the one in front of Valencia, I'm going to fire a firebolt at.
The one that's by Alencia is still prone, so this will be at disadvantage.
That one's at prone too? Alright. They're
Oh,
both at
no,
prone?
not. I'm sorry. That one by Zanaj. You're right. By Alencia. I don't know why I always get those ones confused. They look totally different. 25's a hit. And this will be the first time with, what, 2d8s?
I believe 2d10s.
2d10s, yes, roll that to damage. Ah! But it's enough.
That was terrible. That is it.
Yes. 2 HP that was left.
Yeah, I figured he didn't have much. And I will look at the one that's on the ground, and I will start hauling at it. You're lucky you're still alive. You've got one last chance to live and save your comrades inside.
We'll respond. What? What is it that you want?
Wanted to speak about possibly trading and maybe even helping your tribe earn money. But your leader didn't want to listen. Do you and the rest of your people want to listen? I warned you that we'd already killed the last hunting party that came after us.
They will not listen. They will take her.
How many more are inside?
Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
And
Well, no, that wasn't. Yeah.
with your last question of how many more are inside, it'll stand up and attempt to make it into the hole. Eventually scrambling, making its way down, and then soon, Zanashi, from your point of view, making its way out of sight along with the others. Well, as soon as it went down, obviously it broke the three of yours line of sight, but Zanashi's still seeing a bit more in. Zanashi, from the rough distance, it only is about 30 foot away. Nothing too far. And as far as you see...
I'm gonna definitely follow when it's my turn.
Okay, I was just gonna say, as far as you see, like, from looking in there previously, it just kind of turning and winding down.
Is it like you have to climb down kind of hole, or is it there's a downward angle?
It's like a downward slope, but I'll let you know more about it when you get there, Modar. Togo, it is your turn, bud.
My turn, and so I guess I am just going to take a dash action to there. Where's that? Right there? Right there. Yeah.
Poor little halfling, short legs. I know you're fine, buddy.
Yep. I know it. Both this and Nathos are 25, and I'm like, but yeah, that's it.
One day we'll make full-size characters.
One day.
Brings us to Alencia.
Alencia's eating chimichangas. What's up?
Alencia, stop eating on a battlefield.
I know, you savage. Eating the lizard folk. The lizard folk chimichangas.
Okay. I look around, seeing no lizardmen alive, and in the moment, kind of unsure if we're going to pursue this, or just since the diplomacy didn't work, we just go. But seeing Zanashi jump down the hole and Togo running towards it, she too will
Zanashi hasn't jumped down yet,
dash.
but I'm sure
Oh,
those
well,
intentions are fairly clear.
I mean, yeah, just looking very intently at the hole with her body facing towards it. She'll turn back and say, I think we're going in. Before sheathing her weapon and dashing towards the rest of them.
Well, you can get pretty far.
That's where I go.
She can get as far as I can, and I was 20 feet closer.
I think she can go farther than that, actually. But as Alencia, you catch up to Togo. Togo, you're like, ha, 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 and then you just hear like the stride of Alencia catching up. And as you look back the first time, she's like roughly 60 foot away. But then as you make a couple more steps, you look back again, and she's practically right behind you. In just a matter of a few of your steps, she's already closed the gap.
Care package incoming. I'm kidding. She doesn't say that.
And that's it for your turn?
Yes.
All right, Zanashi.
I am going to follow that lizard folk until I catch up to it, and I'm going to make a swing or two at it.
Okay, well, with it only being 30 foot ahead, you make your way up fairly quickly to it. Just not even a second passes before you close the gap. Sliding down the gravel, and you make a swing. .27 hits it as you strike it into the back. And... oh. I was gonna say, I don't think you needed to roll damage, but it was pretty close.
Well, it's pretty low on damage. That's
That's a 1, isn't it? Well, that's as low as you can roll. But that is enough to bring it down.
As soon as I bring it down, I am going to listen to see if I hear any kind of noise coming from further in this tunnel. And if I do, what kind of noises are they?
So as you listen in, other than the sounds from outside, you just hear footsteps, a bit scurrying, and just like sounds of hisses and like echoes of that. That's kind of it.
But does it sound like a lot? I mean, does it sound like I'm hearing a couple, or could it potentially be like a dozen?
Like, you know that there's echoes, so, but you're just unsure of like the clear number. Maybe there's 6, maybe there's 20.
That I am raging. Zanashi's really not thinking clearly right now.
Well, at the moment, I'll go ahead and say combat is clear, but Zanashi is now 30 foot down.
For as much time as
And out of
Zanashi
sight.
debates, Togo will keep following at a dash, but I don't want to just like move. I base it off Zanashi time for how far I get before things continue.
I mean, if we're not still on my round, I mean, because I still had movement, but then I guess I'll end my turn.
I mean, like, you can finish up your turn, but like as you go out of sight, I'm gonna remove it out of turn order. But you're 30
Okay.
foot down out of sight for them at the moment.
All right. Well, I'm moving down another 25 foot because I'm still raging.
so
I'm still in the
55.
same. I'm still in the same round. Um, I haven't used. Technically, I haven't used the bonus action, so I could dash for another 55. Um, yeah, I'm going dash. I'm bringing the fight to them. That's in my mind. I'm raging at the moment, so I am trying to get in there, and I figure the more I penetrate into their base, the more fear is going to be struck into them. Or the quicker I'm going to die. But Zanashi's not thinking that way.
Okay, well, first let me just ask you this real quick. Like, as you make your way down, there does become clear of a turn off to the left. You can continue going down this fairly large path and decline, and then there's also a path to the right.
Let's go to the left.
Okay. So then, as you make your way down, eventually, like, you're coming around the another bend as the echoes of footsteps are getting louder and louder. At this point, it's a little bit more clear, not bouncing off so much of the walls now that you've kind of closed the gap a bit and proceeded down. You, from your best guess, there's 12 or less.
And they look just as formidable as the others, correct?
You do not see anything. It's just from what you hear.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, well, once I'm done with my movement, as far down as I can move, then I will end my turn
All right.
and see what happens.
So we'll hold it there for just a moment for you, as you have gotten a bit of a distance away. Pretty quick. About just as fast as Valencia. What are the rest of you doing as Zanashi has gone out of sight?
I just kept dashing, trying to catch up to Zanashi. I know I'll fall behind, but
As soon as I see Zanashi disappear into this tunnel, I am going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start running in that direction.
Yeah.
and once I get to the split, assuming I make it that far, I will sit there and listen to see if I hear anything coming up to a fork in the or in the tunnel.
Whatever that is, 140 feet. So however long it takes me to get there.
What were you saying, Valencia?
She's following along, trying to make sure she can catch up to Zanashi to the point where she sees her with dark vision. And anything else she might notice that Zanashi probably ran past.
All right. So, as Zanashi has made her way down, and with each of you in pursuit, um, let's go ahead and take our break now, because as each of you make your way in, well, the three of you, Togo, Valencia, and Modar, you are all unsure of what path to exactly that you need to take. So, let's go ahead and take our break and then finish out the rest of the session. So, be right, just about 5 minutes at most, and then we'll see what this entails.
Sounds good.
All right.
Ooh. I'll take it.
I guess that's pretty good. So looking in, as where the light runs out from the sun outside, it is just met in pretty much complete darkness. Those that have dark vision, of course, seeing a bit farther in, but then eventually coming to a halt. Togo, you see these slightly red leaves. They have lost a bit of their color. I mean, from the looks of it, they're dead now that they've been removed from the branches. But you see where they've been brushed up and a clear path goes off to the north. The rest looks a bit still covered in the leaves.
I will point that out and say, it looks like there's a path up to the north side. How close is Modar to me?
I mean, about like 20-ish feet.
Okay, so Modar would be able to hear.
I did basically like about like a turn and a half at most. I didn't want too much math to have to come on my plate.
Okay. Let's try this way and see if this is where Zenashi went. I don't hear anything, right?
You just hear the echoes that I had stated earlier, the footsteps, the hissing.
But nothing that I can identify as Zenashi.
Correct. Valencia begins to head off in the direction that you had indicated. And Zenashi, at this point, you feel the hot blooded boil begin to fade.
Okay, so this the very last round before I moved to this spot, I had struck something.
Yeah,
So-
like I'm like basically, I guess for a better way to put it, to be I guess more clear and not so mischievous, I'm giving you the capability of still keeping it at the moment.
Okay, I am going to continue charging because until I don't strike anything during this round, then I will lose my rage. So I'm just going to continue moving the way I was planning to move, I guess, since I moved left. How come I
Okay.
can't click anything?
Yeah, I can't click on.
Oh, if you guys have to re-add your tokens, please do so. I had added them for placement holders, essentially.
It's 30 foot to there. I am dashing as well with my bonus action. I believe that is a bonus action for me. Let me make sure that I'm not bullshitting that.
The bonus action thing is I don't know if that's actually in rules as written. I know a lot of DMs do the bonus action as a movement as well. I think that's carryover from either 3rd edition or Pathfinder.
Well, I'm trying to make sure that I can. I may be confusing it, and I don't want to cheat if I don't verify it again.
Because I know like a rogue can use a dash as a bonus action. So I don't know if regular characters are supposed to be able to, but that's a Kyle
Yeah,
thing.
I think a rogue thing is dash as a bonus action. I don't know if barbarian gets it too.
Okay. I don't see it. So maybe I can't move as far as I thought I could. So due to that, I am going to say that that extra movement last round takes place, a little later, whatever you want to say.
Well, it
So
took
I'm
us
not
2
gonna, I'm
turns
not
to get
gonna,
here.
yeah, I'm not gonna be able to move any further. And I actually come out of my rage.
Indeed. So, unfortunately, as you begin to make your way around the corner where you begin to see some of these lizard folk, you look around and the you see that there are about a half a dozen. But as they look at you, can you go ahead and roll initiative? Modar, you hear almost clear as day as it echoes out. There's one! Into the depths!
Hi, friends. How are y'all doing today? As I come out of my rage. And I have blood all over me. Lizard folk blood.
And just to double check, you don't have dark vision, right?
Me?
Yeah, yes, he
I
does.
should.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
You don't. Okay. That was the weird one. I thought it was, for some reason, it was you. But you have a good amount of view. So I'm just going to go ahead and uncover the bit for you. But with that, and Modar, are you hearing that clear as day? What do you do?
And as I hear that, I will say, we don't want to kill anybody, but we will if we must. We're here to talk.
Damn, I wish I could speak their language.
And as I enter, I am going to cast. Do we need to reroll initiative again, or are you just giving us the same initiative we had before? Or are we in initiative? All right. Are we in initiative right now, or are we in a negotiation type thing?
You are in initiative. Well, I mean, as far as you know, I guess is a good way to put it, but right now, their main threat being a very bloodied orc that is smiling and waving at them inside their little den area.
All right. I will cast Dancing Lights. I can cast up to 120 feet in front of me. I'm going to cast it right about here, I guess. The 4
All right, we'll re-roll me initiative. All right. Okay, I gotta go through so many windows right now for Alencius.
And you can't give that access to one of us, can you?
Not the updated sheet. Oh wow, a natural 1 on initiative for Alencia. It does come out to be a 4, but it is a nat 1. But Togo, you are up first as these lights begin to appear from behind. The once-ending sunlight now seems to be trickling farther in as these globules of light begin to trickle down the path.
Okay, and I can now see the lizard folk in front of me.
Yeah, I would think so. At least in the dim lit area.
I can at least see like that one.
Yep.
And maybe that guy, but I probably can't see anything past here.
Correct.
What do they look like they're doing?
It seems that all their attention is just pulled off to the north.
I'm gonna move up to here. And I could still get a clear shot with my crossbow on this guy, right? If I were so inclined.
It looks like it.
Will you let me hold an action of shooting my crossbow at this gentleman here for if they look like they're moving aggressively towards where I'm assuming Zanashi is?
Yeah, that's... seems fair.
Alright, then I will.
No, not
I will
total
do
party
that.
wipe time yet, Lynx. Soon. No, I'm just kidding.
And
Alright, so
I
holding
think
the
that'll
action.
be my turn.
Which moves us to one off in the distance. The one, actually, I believe, closest to you, Togo, that you had indicated. And with its attention up to the north, it will begin to move forward, the spike's shield strapped to its arm and javelin in the other hand, moving to the north.
Am I see?
And
Can I
the
do a
signs of
perception
aggression
to
that
think-
you're looking for become known as it pulls back and begins to
Alright.
attempt to throw its javelin.
15 to hit.
15 hits.
Actually, wait. It moved outside of.
Will still be a disadvantage.
I'll just roll one more time and take the lower of the two.
Move 15 hits.
All right.
Let's see that damage.
Hey.
That's
love to
what's
see it.
up. And as soon as like this crossbow bolt pierces in, you'll hear it just as it stumbles, takes a step forward, throwing the javelin, but a bit off balance. This one going at Zanashi still, but will be at disadvantage. And that is I believe it'll be a 12 to hit, but let me double check. 14 to hit Zanashi.
Miss.
And just pushing it off just enough, and the javelin just ding, ding, as it hits the floor of the cave, looks back and catches meeting eyes with you, Togo, and then breaks away the bolt, the tip still remaining inside. This one off to your southeast will move forward and attempt the same process, throwing a javelin at you, Zanashi. This one is for an 18 to hit.
That's a hit.
Minimum damage for 3. And since you are no longer raging, you will take the full damage. This one will move forward and wielding the spike shield and heavy club will attempt to make its attacks against you, Zanashi. Ooh, the first attack with the spike shield is a natural 1, but the heavy club comes in for a 16 to hit.
That's a hit.
And you will take 6 bludgeoning damage as it hits and sinks in. You can hear a bit of a pop, maybe just a small like, what's the word I'm looking for? Separation of a muscle. You feel still totally fine, but you definitely hear it as it lands a nice solid blow.
Okay.
This one will make its way over to the hole and look down. And as it does, you will just hear it shout. Well, while not being sure of what it says, Zanashi, just hissing down. And then looks towards you, throwing the javelin.
You all want to
It's
die.
an 11, which I believe that is a miss.
It is a miss.
This one will make their way over here. Make its way right here. And let me just double check something. Okay, perfect. As this one moves forward, you will see it as it wields a quarterstaff, then waves as the tip begins to illuminate this slight greenish hue. And as it does, he'll extend it forward as this beam comes out and strikes the ground near you, Togo. These spikes begin to erupt from the ground. And as they do, they appear around you and then slowly dissipate, vanishing from sight.
So a beam shot out and shot spikes at the ground that then dissipated?
Correct. From what you had seen. Zanashi, it's your turn.
I am going to attack the one in front of me. After I bonus action rage. Ooh, that sucks. I guess I'm going to have to swing my second swing and hope it hits. I've been rolling really good, so I am due for some bad rolls.
And unfortunately, the 9 is a miss, but the 16's not. For 19.
Okay. So apparently I just wasn't fully in my element yet. I wasn't fully up to speed on my rage with the first swing. With the second one, I'm back in the zone. And after I finish hitting this one, I am going to...
Yeah, that's the right word for it. Cartilage, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
But I want to move. That's the question. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55. Can't get all the way to the one I want to get to, but I can get to the one next to it. I'm taking a roundabout way with this. I guess I could do the little thing or jigger. Show the others. Rule it.
Oh, now I see what you're trying to do. Okay. So after taking that one down and like surveying the battlefield and what is around, another giant hole lays before you. And the remnants of what appears to be a ship, 3 large sails, and the helm, along with a faded tree. looks to be a bit orange and yellow.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, this is where I moved to, and I end my turn there. 5 foot short of the dude I really wanted to get to.
Yeah, I definitely can see you being able to maneuver about easily, avoiding opportunity attacks.
Oh, I did the ruler out.
It went too quick. I
Oh.
didn't see, but I trust you. I know even though you're raging, you're not completely incompetent with battle tactics. But that was it.
Yeah, that's all.
So, repeating what Alencia had said before, unfortunately, she had to go, and then following the command of Togo, going around, sprinting down the hall, hoping to close the gap, and then finding herself amongst another battlefield. All right, this one will go after Alencia. Closing the gap and taking 2 strikes, one with the spike shield and the other with the heavy club. Which is a 9 and a 14, which I believe both of those miss. We'll double check, and if damage needs to be rolled, I will roll it, but let's go ahead and make it to you, Togo. Back at, I believe, the top of the turn order. Yep. Round 2, with 1 already down. Togo, at this point, can you give me a perception check, please?
Yes.
Is
it dim light from the dancing lights? If so, does it need to be at disadvantage?
At this point, with it will be from your distance, it's still bright light, so disadvantage is not needed.
Okay.
But as you take a look around, the light hits it perfectly, and you see the spikes that you had once seen before they had vanished.
Do I think that if I move carefully through them, I can get out from the spikes, or moving through them, I'm probably going to cut myself and trip and fall?
From the looks of it, it's definitely a bit rough looking. You would recognize that this is a spell, but can you go ahead and give me an Arcana check at advantage?
I don't know why that didn't roll at advantage.
You would recognize this as the spell Spiked Growth.
Spiked growth.
Would I have noticed any of this?
I think definitely from your distance, you would have noticed the initial. Noticing the spikes appear but then dissipate.
Then I am going to... I'm going to take a shot at the one that cast that with my crossbow.
Sounds like a good idea. Fortunately, a 10 is a miss.
Oh, alright, that is unfortunate. What else am I gonna do then? I guess, and I would know that this is I would know I have an idea about the effects of this spell, right?
A general idea, yes.
Then,
Well, you don't find yourself nearly, like, right at the center. You do find yourself surrounded. You should be able to see the light.
Yeah, I can see where it's at. I'm probably gonna stay put then, and instead I will use my bonus action to yell at Zanashi to chop its head off and give it bardic inspiration.
Give her bardic inspiration.
Her, yes. True.
Yes, how dare
And
you?
I just smile from ear to ear.
Actually, wait, I can't do that. I'm too far away from Zanashi, aren't I?
Ooh, I was just about to check it.
It's 60 feet, not 90.
Oof. Rough. Out of range.
And I can't even get there because I can only move 12 and a half feet. Then that'll be...
I mean, you can get there. It'll just take a little bit.
True, but I can't get there this turn.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's the call?
we'll move 10 feet. It is difficult terrain, right?
Indeed.
Alright.
Ooh, I'm sorry, bud. That's a little rough on the damage. You'll take 14 damage as you make your way across.
It's a nasty spell, man.
Especially when you're a halfling.
When I was playing my druid, I loved that spell.
And
Is that
that'll
it,
be
bud?
my
Lot of
turn.
damage.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
This one will move down to here, and as it begins to wield the heavy club, attempt to attack you with the spike shield into the club. There's Zanashi.
Okay.
Swinging forward with the spike shield, you easily deflect it with a 13 to hit as you parry it off. But as you do, you leave yourself open for the heavy club as it sinks in with a 22 to hit.
All right.
You take a total of 4 damage. Since you're raging, it's halved, which will be 2. As it sinks in. A well delivered strike, but not as damaging as it may have thought with the nice blow. So it'll close the gap on Alencia and begin to make its attacks. The spike shield and the club both hitting, sinking in, piercing into Alencia for 4 damage. And as the club sinks in, another 4 damage, 8 in total. As these 2 strikes both find their target. So one will close the gap and rinse and repeat the same attacks. Unfortunately, both of these hitting as well. The spike shield for a 17 meeting the AC and a 21 exceeding. For 15 damage in total, 8 piercing and 7 bludgeoning. And with the previous 8, that is 23. Wanted to make sure I marked it off on her sheet. This one just to your north, Zanashi, will go for you. The first attack with the spike shield is a natural 20. The next follow-up with the heavy club is a 19.
Okay.
You'll take a total of 17, then halved 8 damage as these 2 strikes find a nice vulnerable spot as you leave yourself open still from the previous prairie attack. Then this one just off to your west, Zanashi, will begin to make its way away from you. And as it does, it'll place all 4 of its legs on the ground. The tail grows a little bit more scaly and spiked as the body elongates. The snout becomes longer, the teeth sharper, as it slowly transforms into a crocodile.
And you are talking about the one to my west, correct? Okay.
Yes.
And snapping its jaws, it'll just move forward a couple more steps before it becomes Valencia's turn.
Or my turn.
Oh yes, your turn. Sorry, indeed it is.
I'm trying to skip.
I did. I didn't want you to get your attacks. Guilty.
Let me take my notes down for next Wednesday.
Wait, am I
AKA
even,
tomorrow.
Am
No,
I
no,
even in the combat
we're
tracker
off.
right now?
Yeah, he's working. Never mind.
What'd you say, Modar?
Am I even in the initiative tracker?
Are you?
Did you not select your token?
You are not in it.
Well, you'll go. I'll give you 2 turns right after Zanashi, since you had a 5.
I can't believe you didn't even say nothing last round.
I
We're
didn't
already
even
at the
know. Well, I
bottom.
was just waiting. Well, the issue is this: it doesn't say when the round is over.
I
It just
know.
keeps on going.
You
Yeah,
just gotta look
I
when
said when the
numbers
round
go
was
back
over,
big.
though.
I didn't even notice you say it.
was
I've been
a
looking
lot-
through spells and trying to figure out how I wanted to do this.
He's like, man, I got a lot of time to think about it. This is good.
I am planned for my next turn, whenever that may be.
I was like, wait a second, how the hell are they going again? I haven't even done my first time.
Okay, it's surprised it took you all the way to the bottom of the second round, though. Realize it, though.
At least you called it or got it before we made it too much farther. Because
Yeah.
missing 1 turn isn't terrible, but if we miss like the entire, like if we got through all of combat and didn't realize you didn't do anything, that'd be kind of funny, but bad.
That
Well,
would
I'm
be
like,
funny.
wait a second, like what the hell is going on here?
I'm hitting the one that's already injured.
All right, 16 will hit.
Lindsay gonna die again. She's not even here.
Still hanging on as it looks at you blankly. Emotion fading.
Same one.
Slice into it as you cut into the neck. The blood spews just a bit as it spatters against your chest and face, and it falls.
And as it spatters against my face, I stick my tongue out and lick it from around my lips. And just stare at the one in front of me. You're next.
We'll just go ahead and keep skipping Modar. Lindsay.
And
Well, the thing
And-
is, well, I realized that once he I'm like, wait a second, how the hell is he transforming on a second turn before I got to go once?
Yeah, you're right. My bad. I'm sorry that I missed you. But is that the end of your turn, Zanashi?
I'm thinking that crocodile is obviously moving towards Togo, correct?
I'm sorry. The fan kind of threw me off. What'd you say, bud?
The crocodile is moving towards Togo.
Correct.
I'm going to take the opportunity attack and charge it.
Okay. After licking the blood, can you go ahead and give me a con save, though, please?
Gladly.
It'll be a 15 to hit with the club.
Huh?
For the opportunity attack.
15 hits.
All right, and okay, 13 on the con save, noted. You'll take 3 damage halved, so 1.
Okay, I moved 35 foot to where I'm at right now. My calculations, I still have 20 foot. I want to try to keep him from moving that direction at all.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
So I'm going to move around him, and that's
So as it snaps its jaws a couple of times and making its way off towards Togo, you maneuver in front, sliding and skidding to a halt, cutting off its path. It'll pull its head back just a bit before it hisses and lets out that familiar crocodile sound. Insert crocodile sound here.
Tick tock, tick tock.
No, I don't think
tick,
that's it.
tock.
That was the end of your turn, correct?
it was.
Brings Modar. Go ahead and give me a perception check to begin your turn, please. So just as they had faded, the spikes do appear with the light from your the globules of flame that are trickling down the path, and you as well see the spikes surrounding Togo.
I'm going to move around that.
Oh yeah, there's the really quiet part.
There, and I am firing a level 2 magic missile at the crocodile guy.
Level 2 magic missile at the crocodile guy. All right. Nice. $15, right? Yeah.
That was 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep. See, I wanted to hit him with that before he transformed, hopefully take him down, but. And I will make sure I move the lights around so that I can see the crocodile well and any of these guys in here. I can move them. I can bonus action and move them up to 60 feet, but they have to stay within 20 feet. So I want to light this whole cavern up as much as I can. Make sure that the area that is that we're fighting in is visible.
And so as you illuminate it, the bolts from your magic missile, of course, all 4 of them connect. Doof, 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 doof. And as it does, you'll catch out of your peripheral vision the spikes beginning to fade. You feel as if you have now made the spell completely dissipate.
All right, Togo, you should be free to move now. And then I will move up another. Now, is it going to be my second turn?
If that's
Or how
it
do
for
we
your
wanna
first
do
one.
this? Yeah, that'll be everything for my first turn. Move up here, and I'm going to fire a firebolt at the crocodile.
All right, it definitely can't be worse than your last one, right? I mean, it could theoretically be, but... A 22 will hit. And just make sure it rolled the damage right. Okay. For 10 damage. So, well, of course, because we skipped your turn, as you step a bit more in after casting the magic missile, you shoot out a firebolt connecting into the crocodile. As you see the flames ignite just inside its mouth, beginning to singe its tongue in the roof of its mouth.
And after that, I will repeat again. This is your decision. It didn't have to go this way, but we will finish this. And that will be the end of my turn.
Oh, there they go. That one just took a little bit. Alencia, striking the one to the right. Once the quarterstaff for a 20, and then the first one that came through is unfortunately a 10, which will be a miss.
Well, actually, I had different ideas for that.
Oh, I didn't know you were back.
Hi. It turns out it ended a lot sooner than I thought.
Well, welcome back.
This should be a very familiar situation for you.
Let me.
Oh, yeah.
I guess let you go ahead and control your character. But I did roll pretty good for you, though. I had a 20 and a 10.
Yeah, I can see that with the initiative and all that.
The initiative, that was unfortunate. All right, so what do you do?
Well, seeing as I have a third of my health, shit, yeah, she's going to take out her sword. Start slashing at the one to her left.
All right, well, the 21's better than what I rolled, so that'll hit. Nice.
And she'll slash at him again.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
the 11's a miss.
Alright, then she's gonna flurry of blows him.
Alright, so slashing through, you see the blood fall out just a bit, and as it does, the wound begins to, as you see the poison seep through, breaking its the scales down little by little. And then you follow it up, nice unarmed strike. Six damage, not bad.
And she'll use the other attack to heal.
Six HP back. It's actually the same thing I was going to do, but I did just attack with the quarterstaff.
Yeah, I probably should have too. That's my turn.
All right. Well, the one just off to the left that you had just attacked, landing a couple of blows, will feel the pain emanating through its abdomen area as the poison is burning away the scales. You see a look of fear in its eyes as it drops the heavy club and begins to flee.
I
Go
smell
ahead.
fear.
Go ahead and disengage and get just to the edge of the hole. Togo.
I am going to cast Dissonant Whispers at a first level at the alligator or crocodile.
All right, wisdom save. is a 13.
Yes.
Take 7 psychic damage. As you see the head begin to thrash back and forth erotically, as it does, the jaws just snapping. Just thrashing its head back and forth. It seems to have your desired effect.
And then it moves its movement away.
But I don't wanna.
Zanashi can take an opportunity
Yes,
attack if she so
now
desires.
she can.
I am going to take one too.
Go ahead and swing.
And
Oh.
Zanashi is caught by surprise as it flees.
You didn't attack with whatever. The
With what?
reckless.
It's an opportunity attack.
I thought reckless lasted until their next turn. No, is it just that turn?
I think it's just those attacks. I'd have to double check, but there hadn't been reckless stated thus far.
And would I recognize the spell had faded?
You can go ahead and give me a perception check.
I did holler towards you and say you can move freely now. Whether
Oh.
you trust me or not.
I'll still make
That's
a
me.
perception check. All right, I think that probably is good enough. And then I will then step
Yeah,
up
that's fine.
behind Zanashi and say, chop their heads off. Now I will give Zanashi a bardic inspiration.
Are you sure you're in range this time?
Let me check.
I think it's going to be disadvantage because you're so close right now.
Yeah, Zanashi's not a touchy-feely person. Who am I?
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
And what are you doing?
I'm inspiring you with bardic inspiration.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm sorry. Is that it?
Yes, that'll be it.
All right, Alencia, you're still here. This one will make its attacks on you. And being a bit overwhelmed, now seeing its comrade fleeing, you'll see it begin to tremble just a bit, swinging at you with the spike shield, missing wildly with a 10 to hit, and then trying to follow it up with the heavy club. Unfortunately for the lizard folk, this attack is just beginning to show how scared at the moment he truly is after it swings directly into the ground, and as a bit of the rocks below just crack and scatter across the floor.
You don't want to feel the sword.
This one to the south hissing at him. You can hear it having quite an angry tone as it will attempt the same attacks. Well, maybe he shouldn't have been so cocky. Both of these are actually natural 2s. The spike shield and the heavy club, both the 2. Both missing. And that will be it for him. A little embarrassing. This one will stand here, and then you'll see it place the club just atop of the spike shield as it is standing in the path, just as from you and Zanashi and the crocodile, just as you had done to the crocodile with Togo. For the crocodile, it will need to make the wisdom save at the start of its turn, correct?
There's no more wisdom saves.
No more save?
It's not afraid. It just, I believe it just moves.
I thought it became frightened, too.
Double check. I think it ends at the beginning of its next turn.
All right, then. Well, with that... then it'll get to here.
Oh, wait.
I didn't like the spell, that's just the attack.
Yeah.
I thought it had caused frighten, but that might be thinking of something else. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking something different then. Or it was just entirely wrong. Probably more so entirely wrong. Zanashi, as the crocodile makes its way back over to you, it'll attempt to bite you for a 17.
That's a hit.
So with it chomping down on you, take 4 damage in total, so halving is 2. And then you will find yourself grappled. And also restrained. As it pulls you off your feet, clamping down on both of your legs, you find your movement hindered, gone, as it thrashes back and forth. You see it begin to turn its head in what you would know to be a death roll.
Okay.
It's your turn. Discord has just been not wanting to communicate tonight. It either works, and it works wonderfully, or you end up running into a few issues for some reason. And tonight has just been one of those reasons. But it'll reconnect shortly.
Hello, hello.
There we go.
Yeah, that's back.
What's up?
Where's he got me bit at?
On the legs.
So, yeah, I heard. He's got my legs bit. So technically, he don't have my upper body. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so when you're grappled and restrained, it doesn't hinder like you being able to attack. I think if anything, it's just at disadvantage. But I mean, mostly your speed just becoming 0.
You know, if he ain't got my hands are still on my weapon. So I am going to swing at the top of his head, since his head's pretty close to me because it's attached to my legs at the moment.
Indeed. Like I said, though, it will be at disadvantage, but you can go ahead and make the attack. Oof. Unfortunately, as it's thrashing its head back and forth, you're unable to get a good shot. You swing forward and you just strike the ground, missing just a bit. The next attack, though, sinking in.
Never mind.
I couldn't have used your inspiration on that Nat 1, buddy. I'd already planned on using the inspiration, but when I rolled the Nat 1, I was like, well, that's not going to work. Okay, so I swing, and my second blow, I do hit him.
Yes, and as you do, the head and snout become a bit smaller. You can see the gash, like, while not as big as while on the crocodile's head, still on this lizard folk's head, as the mouth wrapped around both of your legs previously sinks down to just one. You find your movement coming back, but while still knocked off your feet, you find yourself in an awkward position.
Since the creature was on all fours, is it now prone coming out of crocodile shape?
Indeed it is.
But I am going to use my movement to stand up, and I can't really do anything else at this time, so I will end my turn. Actually, yeah, I'll end my turn here.
Okay. Well, with a nice strike, you make it shift out of its crocodile form back to its true self as it becomes Modar's turn.
All right. I see this happen, and I'm going to. How do I make these lines stay there when it's removed? How do you actually get it to follow a line?
So if you don't have it on the ruler and you just have it on the cursor select, you just left click, drag, and right click along the way while you're click and holding. Select the token, move it, and then just like right click.
Weird. Okay, but it moves the map though. That is scary.
Sorry, I think I fucked you up there.
Well, no, the movement style is because I am clicking.
You have the top thing selected where it's just the cursor, right? On the toolbar.
You left click that.
You left click your token, drag it like you would normally move it, but before releasing it, just right click. And then it'll pinpoint your movements.
Well, it's letting me like just move it, but it's not giving me a ruler or anything.
That worked for me. Like I said, left click, hold the token, and before releasing the left click, just right click along the way. You did it before. And then because I remember you saying like, this is useful.
Yeah, but see, right now what it's doing is like the map's moving. This is
Well, then it's maybe just glitched or something at the moment. Maybe you just need to refresh the page.
get a movement. All right, and now it's not. There, okay. And I want to cast Burning Hands at first level. Right? Am I good to get there?
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm gonna try and cast Burning Hands at first level. I think I can get both of these guys with that. 15-foot cone.
Easily. I don't really have a nice trick for a cone yet. I'll figure something out one day, but maybe I'll just make like a token for it. But yes, both of them can be hit by it, and that's dex save, so from left to right. Wow, I actually missed my dice tray. That's kind of embarrassing. A 1 for the first and a 12 for the other.
What wouldn't have been embarrassing if you wouldn't told us.
But I'm honest with you guys. I share my embarrassments with you. So both of them being engulfed in flames, not as devastating as the fireball that you had unleashed outside, but nonetheless dealing a hefty amount as both of them are seared and burnt from your burning hands, taking 8 damage apiece.
Is on you all now. And that would be the last of my turn. And moving the I'm adjusting these lights to make sure I can see anything that I just is moving.
Just so you know, bud, on the mixer, you're showing up like in the yellow still. So I mean, like I'm getting like a good audio from you, but you definitely aren't as clear as normal.
All right.
So I mean, like the volume's there, but it definitely still seems a bit muffled in comparison of what your normal mic sounds like.
All right, maybe
It's
I'll play
weird.
around with it a
Oh,
little bit
that's
after
good.
this tonight.
That's
There it is. Maybe it's just your cord or something, like it's tangled.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really moved at all. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you did, but that sounds incredibly better. But is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
All right. Which brings us to you, Alencia.
She slashes really hard.
And with the relentless attack that you put forth, it does indeed pay off. 26, finding the target. Which one are you attacking? The top or bottom?
Bottom.
Gotcha. That actually is the exact amount you needed to bring it down. 22 HP.
And as I lop off its head, I swing from the other direction towards this one.
And as you lop off the first one's head, following through, flipping the blade in order to strike the next one, it brings the shield up just in time as it parries the attack.
And with the sword sticking in, I try to lift it up a little bit to get my foot under.
You have an opening. The foot finds its target. 17 hits. It's a good damage. Any damage is good damage.
And I'll use another key for myself.
All right, 8 HP. Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah, I'm just gonna survey the area for anything else.
As you're surveying, you do see the one that was just at the edge make its way down, disappearing from sight. As it drops to all fours, you see the tail shoot up vertically as it makes its way down.
Do I know what's down there?
No one has looked yet. But soon it does disappear from sight. So Togo, top of round 3, it is your turn. Or is it maybe round 4. Now I'm losing count myself because I gave
I think
Modar
this is
2
round
turns.
4 because
I gave Modar 2 turns, so now I'm lost.
I am going to move behind this guy, and then once again at first level, I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers on the guy between me and Zanashi.
That's a 2.
Oh yeah.
So as 6 more psychic damage goes in on him, as it begins to hiss and howl and basically run away once more, this time instead of the crocodile form, in its true form, fleeing.
And then did we decide that I could use my reaction as well?
Yes, I can't remember if it was this game, but I do know after like looking up reactions, you can use the reaction on your turn.
Okay. And will I get advantage on it due to where I'm positioned with Zanashi?
Unfortunately not, because
Because it's
of
moving
where
out of there?
where it would have to move to. Zanashi, though, she will.
Mhm.
Perfectly fine.
So he tried to get away from me.
Yes, it fleed yet again, as Togo has caused it more mental pain. The 24 Togo will hit. Good thing you
I
got
just-
yours at advantage, Zanashi.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do.
That is the second nat one you rolled.
I
I
think
know,
it's
that's the
actually like the
third.
third or fourth.
It is my third one tonight.
25 hits.
And I'm still
9.
rolling crap damage.
But 9 is exact enough as you bring it down. That rage paying off. So as it takes a step away, Zanashi, you sink into it with the Elf Mutilator, the Great Axe, dealing the damage that you need it to deal as it takes a couple more steps, moving away out of Togo's range as he pierces into the back with the rapier, and then it falls. Be actually roughly here.
I'm gonna look up and say, stand strong, Modar. It's almost done, and cast Bardic Inspiration on Modar. And then that will be my turn.
All right. Well, Modar, as you feel inspired, we move on to the lizard folk's turn. That is next to Alencia. And it'll do a quick survey. And it will begin to flee as well. Disengaging and making it to the edge of the cliff, or the edge of the hole, just as the previous one had done before escaping. It'll get to there before the end of its turn. This one, as the three of you surround it, will hold fast and it'll look towards you first, Zanashi, then quickly towards Modar and Togo, and then back and forth between Modar and Togo, and determining that Togo may be the easier target, it will move in and make its attacks. The first one is with the spike shield for an 11 to hit, as you just take a step back, dodging the attack. The club reaching out, striking down for a 22 to hit.
That hits.
You'll take 5 damage as it hits, and you feel as if, as it strikes into your toe, as if it has broken your foot. This just a very uncomfortable amount of pain. Zanashi, as Togo lets out a bit of a getting his toe smashed, it is your turn. Oh. Yes. Man. Fortunately for them, a 12 is a miss. just kidding. Misread it. So the 19 for the hit will be a connection. And then for 14 damage.
Discord disconnect again.
Yeah, it did. A 19 missed.
I was just messing with you.
I'll say.
So the 2 from the slashing threw me off. I thought that was just your regular attack. But the 19 hit, and with the 14 damage that you dealt to it, was enough to take it down.
Okay, so then at that point, I've moved 10 foot. 20, 30, 40, 50, 55. I ain't got enough to make it all the way to the other guy, but I guess I could move as close as I can get anyway.
I mean, you definitely have a bit of movement. That's for sure.
That's it.
All right,
And I'll end my turn right there.
Modar. Now that you've kind of made your way a bit in closer, you can see the remnants of the ship that was described earlier. A bit of what appears to be a deck of a ship, some railing, masses with sails of various sizes, and the helm. Also, of course, the tree.
With the side of the ship, my eyes just light up, and I start moving the orbs around the area, kind of look at that. And so I can see everything in this chamber. Look at the last guy standing up there. And start to move towards him.
That lizard folk's eyes just directly down into the hole.
And I am going to move 30 feet there. And I gave you more than enough options to stop this. And I will fire at him.
I like no nonsense Modar.
Why did that roll twice?
Because it's probably just buggy and laggy. I mean, we've been having a little bit of issues all night. But nonetheless, an 18 is a hit.
Right.
And as you connect solidly, you see this fire along the back, singeing it for quite a bit of damage. Its attention still focused on the hole as it doesn't even look back, just slowly beginning to place its front appendages, its front, like the hands, front paws, whatever we'd like to call them, down as it's beginning to attempt to climb down.
And I will yell freeze one last time in its native language. No, it'll be my turn.
All right, well, with that being the end of your turn, we do move to Elincia. What would you like to do?
Well, assuming we're all in the same no-nonsense mode, she will make sure they don't escape.
By cloning herself.
Oh yeah, you can delete the clone.
But I want to keep it. 16 will hit.
Is it jujitsu? Okay, I will damage.
All right. And as you strike into it with it already leaning forward with the momentum, the damage makes it go limp as it falls forward and then over into the hole, eventually out of sight.
I will peer down the hole.
As far as you can see, it is just ends in darkness.
Even down 120 feet.
Indeed.
Did they jump down or did they do something else?
The first one climbed. The other one is dead. He's just fallen.
They
So-
are lizards, you know. They can climb.
They climbed down further than 120 feet?
Just out of sight. I mean, if you would like to give a perception check, you can take a more of an active look around. But from your current, that's what you see.
Oh, alright.
Ooh, that's just enough. So, just by the way, I had a 20 for them moving down, for like a perception check DC. So you do see the one falling quite notably as it's making its way down, but you catch the glimpse of the tail of another as it's maneuvering down the wall.
Is it like... Does it have many different directions? Or is it still just
it's
one
just straight
hole?
down.
Straight down.
Indeed.
Is it possible to still shoot any of them that are alive down there?
The one that is alive, yes, you can.
Alright.
It's going to be a difficult shot, but not for you with the 21. And as it hits the tail, you will just see it begin to topple over, eventually showing the bottom half, then the top, then the bottom, then the top, then eventually falling out of sight.
I look back toward everyone else and say, are there any others?
Not that we know of.
Good. And then she'll throw her weapon.
We'll point down to the tunnel to the south.
Oh, that. Okay. Then she'll make her way over there. And that's it.
Alright, well, that will pull us out of combat. What I will do, just for convenience, I'll unveil that for you. Just a little different of a winding path. But as each of you make your way around, before getting into too much farther detail, since we're a bit over our time, Alencia, can you roll me a history check at advantage, please?
Sure. I'm proficient.
No. It's a little bit different. You're about to find out, Lynx. So as you looked down into that darkness, after you took a few steps away, there is this feeling in the pit of your stomach, Alencia. You feel a bit cool as goosebumps begin to rise all over your body. The hair on the back of your neck stands as you realized what you had just stared into as an entrance to your birthplace.
To the Underdark.
Underdark.
Oh, man.
And then with that is where we'll call tonight's session.
Of course it is.
I only know of one other Underdark entrance.
Yes, so, as a player, now you found a second.
I found the second.
Well, Of course, Modar, as you had pointed out, your eyes lighting up as like the ship has been seen, noting that potentially with this odd area where you have found it may be connected to what each of you had set out of Vala to do over a month ago, finding remnants of this ship in order to record it and bring it back to Vala. But as said, with that, as where we're going to be calling it. We'll pick it up next week as long as everyone's available. And
Yep.
then, but if anyone has anything to share, please feel free to do so.
No. It was fun.
Fun as always.
Yeah.
Well,
Hope everybody enjoyed it.
They set out to do all this. I just set out to kill stuff with them.
Zanashi, the slayer of all. Well, I'm glad that each of you had fun. Look forward to next week. I look forward to tomorrow night with some Tomb of Annihilation with Clue DMing, and then more of Elista on Thursday and Friday, and then more shenanigans, I'm sure, on the weekend. But thank you all for joining. I hope each of you had a good time. Thank you, Lynx, for rejoining and checking out D&D after last night of joining and seeing us make a fool out of ourselves in Valheim. At least, you know, here and there. But glad to see you back. And hopefully see everyone tomorrow night. If not, just see you around. Have a good night and be safe. Bye-bye.
Reminder: there's no game tomorrow.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, no game tomorrow. I got...
Fuck you, brother.
Yeah, I'll blame him. I'll go give him a wedgie or something. That's fine. We'll play Valheim tomorrow, or I'll play Valheim tomorrow. Maybe you guys won't, but I'll play. But good night.
Yeah.